There are not, I'll say boldly, on Earth, there are just not new biocides. I've been doing this 30 years in the industry. For the most part, the industry for decades in antimicrobial chemistries has been tweaking, combining biocides together, finding new value to deliver from existing products. We have with Cupron and Clear technology in particular is a truly new delivery of a new biocide.
Welcome to a brand new series of interviews with experts. Today I have with me Mr. Christopher Andrews, the visionary, the CEO, the man of Cupron Performance Additives, a company that is everything copper. Joining him is Mr. Todd Miller. He's the Senior Vice President of Sales. Welcome, Chris and Todd.
How are you today?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about Cupron a little bit. It's a company that deals with liquid copper additives. And today we're going to be talking about Cupron Clear, their newest line of this product. Now what that is and what that does, let's talk with Chris and Todd. So my first question is with Mr. Chris. Could you tell us a little bit about Cupron Clear, just a little bit about the product, what it is, how it is used, and what makes it different from other similar products in the market?
Sure. Well, Cupron Clear accelerates a critical objective in the specialty chemical industry, and that is replacement of unattractive or harmful legacy biocide chemistries with a sustainable alternative, specifically one based on copper. And the unusual element of that is that copper is critical to human health and existence. Unlike any other functional copper solutions, our firm has innovated a way to stabilize copper 1, and that is the cuprous form of copper, the most functional form of copper for antimicrobial and anti-odor and skin benefit objectives. So the other form of copper, which is commonly found in the virtually all copper products on the marketplace prior to Cupron Clear, is a cupric form of copper. Cuprous is about 100 to 500 times more effective using copper, but using copper in a way that now makes it competitive and beneficial to the level where it can displace some legacy chemistries.
Right. Can you elaborate a little bit on the uses of it? Where, in what industries it is used, in what products it is used?
Let's start with why someone would use it. There's not another technology to the historic specialty chemical biocide space that offered this combination of managing microbes while managing healthy tissue existence, because that's what humans use copper for. The body wouldn't exist without copper being actively used for 10 major organs. So this unique combination of antimicrobial and anti-odor, but also with tissue benefits, is really unheard of in the space. That intersection of that biocides world with the personal care applications, where you've got products designed to keep skin healthy and vibrantly young. We've framed 10 market categories that are traditionally known in the biocide space, personal care space. We started our world in medical devices, so that's the roots of our company, and that sort of informs a lot of how we go about creating products. Very high science. Other categories: household, industrial, and institutional, collectively what the industry calls the hygiene space, the personal care space, the case space, the coating, adhesives, sealants, and elastomer space, that is, textiles and plastics, building and construction, oil and gas. And then we've got two categories, a specialty industrial that really plays off of copper's unusual synergistic effects with other elements that are just a function of chemistry and a function of physics. We have applications in or are actively developing products right now with other companies.
Interesting. So I know we touched base a little bit about tissue benefit and all the industries that you spoke about. Maybe Todd, you can help me understand. Was there a gap in the market that you were sort of aiming to fulfill with this product, with this launch of new product? If there was, what was it?
Absolutely. Well, Chris had made reference to the dual nature of this copper. We understand copper for many, many decades, centuries even. It's been understood by humanity that copper is essential to the human body. And what we feel there's an unmet need for is this dynamic of having a chemistry that can be antimicrobial, anti-odor in nature, but at the same time healthy for human life and all life. From a sustainability standpoint, a green standpoint, we've got a chemistry it's a nature-made compound. This has existed since the beginning of time. The fact that we really have a 4-part value proposition, lead with sustainability. It's an effective chemistry, it works. It's hardy. Copper stands up well to UV, thermal and other chemical sort of impacts and conflicts in different formulations. So we're hardy. Copper can last in these different form factors and application areas. And ultimately, the 4th part of the value proposition is the value. In other words, it's cost competitive against a lot of these chemistries. So we feel like going up against other chemistries in the biocidal space, we're going to win and be able to win over the long haul because of that we can compete. We last well. It's a sustainable story and it works.
You're talking a lot about UV and everything. Maybe Todd and Chris, both of you can answer about the technology behind Cupron Clear's liquid copper formulation and its effectiveness.
With copper, where we have, and Chris can make reference to this too, but where we have the most history and the most experience knowing and proving copper is effective as an antimicrobial, anti-odor agent, we know that copper can be potent as an antimicrobial, anti-odor agent in plastics. Coloration has been a challenge with copper because it is sort of a naturally orange or reddish color in its pure state. That has been a limitation historically. Clear solves that. Clear is deliver copper chemistry, the ions, the potency in liquid form. Whether oil or aqueous phase, we can now deliver into liquid form. It makes it much, much easier to carry the chemistry and the potency of the chemistry into these other forms and applications. So we keep with us, and what Clear really does is it preserves all the good, all the attributes of copper we've had and proven in polymers and textiles through the years, but it solves the challenges or limitations is a better word that copper's had. And that's what we're so excited about, is we've managed to check off and delete the limitations and liabilities and carry forward all the attributes.
Can you share a real life example where the product is superior to other products?
Sure. I'll give you a great example that actually captures both sides, the medical side and the antimicrobial side. One of our earliest applications that we've licensed to a company is in the wound care space. And most people think of copper being similar to other metals in that it's got a natural antimicrobial function, and that is true. What distinguishes is that this particular heavy metal actually is critical to human existence. The wound dressings have been in market around the globe. They've got regulatory approval and are being sold in 55 countries around the world. Is not only does it help the body clean the wound, which is the first stage of wound healing, but it accelerates wound healing. Why? Because it's delivering copper to the site where the body uses that to create new skin cells. So there's probably, it's one of the best, most effective ways to demonstrate you've got this duality associated with copper. Individuals that have struggled with persistent chronic wounds because their body can't get the nutrients to the wound site or some other factors limiting it, suddenly wounds that were potentially open or would not heal for literally years, we've seen closed in 90 to 180 days after the application of a copper wound dressing.
Todd, is there any other user feedback from any other industry, apart from the industries that Chris spoke about? What is the user feedback?
Sure. The user feedback is still very much developing and exploring where all this could go, but I think when it comes to surface cleaning and disinfection, you have the great need both commercially within industry itself, but also consumers. There's a need for, if you think about the products you keep in your own home to clean surfaces and disinfect surfaces, kitchens, bathrooms, and so forth. That surface disinfection and cleaning is a huge industry. The biocides, the chemistries used to disinfect and clean are important, but under attack in a lot of areas because of political pressure and so forth. There are perceptions, real and not, about certain chemistries, and we've got an answer to that.
Let's talk about quats for the audience. I would like to tell you that quats are ammonium compounds essentially which are used as preservatives in cosmetics and personal care industry. Now, these compounds are very widely used, but they are very harmful, and they have been repeatedly flagged off as toxic by a lot of regulatory authorities. How is Clear safer or sort of more compliant?
So it's safer because it's using an element that the body has evolved in using. So there are 10 major organs in the body that would not exist or wouldn't develop if they didn't have access to copper. So our body is tuned to use copper day in and day out for its normal function. When we don't have enough copper, we supplant that with our diet, and you can go eat either a lot of leafy greens or chocolate is actually a very large, is a wonderful reservoir for copper. So go eat as much chocolate as you want from a health perspective. So to introduce something that is keeping the body healthy, but in a certain form and delivered in a certain way, can help manage the microbes that actually attack the way we want to live today. Back to your original question, what is one of the innovations of Clear is that it introduces copper in a format that now is also economically competitive to the quats that are in the marketplace. That is a massive evolution. We bring the sustainability and safety message, but we package it in a way that's also powerfully economic relative to many of the quats that are used in the marketplace today.
To Cupron and the Clear product in particular, it's copper. You don't have to be a chemist or a scientist to understand that copper has existed since the beginning of time. Quat molecules are human-made. Those there are some natural quats, but those aren't used often in industry. We're very confident. We know they're important to the human body and human physiology, animal and plant life. That's what we're using. We're very proud of that. Clear is essentially using a natural substance to do tremendously powerful things.
Is there an industry trend, or are people really shifting towards, replacing biocides with metal-based alternatives? Is there a trend that you are witnessing?
I would say there's been a trend for many years to try and move to natural, to use that term. You see in hygiene and personal care applications. Personal care, we mean on-body products. Deodorants, cosmetics, lotions, creams, shampoos, and so forth. There's been a trend to move away from human-made molecules to do preservation and killing toward more natural substances, and we're following that trend.
What are the cost constraints of this? When quats are man-made and you are using a different technology, what is more cost-effective? If I talk from a sales perspective.
Well, I will say to Todd's point, there is a very broad universe of quats in their use. It's going to be use specific, but as we see in those categories that we've just described, I will say in every case, our sustainability advantage is not sufficient for someone to say they want to displace their existing solution in the quat side. We have to be in the realm where either our performance is stronger than the quats, but you can use less of our technology to get to the same outcome. But it's very, very category specific. But we have been asked, and we are co-developing products as we speak in those categories that I described, where the objective is to replace the quats that are commonly used today. And you will you will be hearing about more of these product development announcements.
Quat chemistry, and there are other biocidal actives we're going to go after as well. Because these products, quats, are used so pervasively around the world, we know we have to be cost competitive. We can't come in because many of these applications are more commodity in nature. We know we're bringing specialty value, but to compete in these markets, including disinfection, we know we need to be cost competitive, and that's why value, that word value, is part of the value proposition. Is we know, and this is what we've told early development partners, is you don't have to make a sacrifice. It works as well. That's often a sacrifice you have to make. You can plug in a sustainable product or a green chemistry that doesn't work in many cases. That's not the case with Clear. This is not a trade-off. We believe we're going to be cost competitive because cost and use will be lower, but also because we know the chemistry works and delivers the value.
Are there any safety and environmental concerns still around heavy metals and additives? Are there any misconceptions that go around? If so, what are they? And how does Clear stay ahead of it? And how do you mitigate those?
Yeah, so I touched on this a little earlier, a term that's so broad and undefined as heavy metals. But
Yep.
there are a handful of heavy metals that the body has to have in order to exist. And copper is one of those. It's the reason we built our company's intellectual property around it and value proposition around it. It is a building block of human existence. And not all metals are that way. The good news is the science is on our side. So it's a health product. The very first product that we brought to the marketplace was a medical device in order to help wound healing. So we're well schooled in this, but you raised a very good point. There will be an educational element to help people understand the difference between copper as a heavy metal and a handful of others that actually the body uses versus a lot of the metals that have that metal functionality, but the body doesn't know how to handle it.
What about aquatic ecosystems and other places? How are those ecosystems getting affected by this?
So that's a great question, and the environmental question has to be answered as well. High regulation. We started as a medical device company, but we also at the same time worked with the Environmental Protection Agency, as an example, in the United States. And they are tasked with making sure that great ideas don't impact the environment in an unusual way that is unanticipated. The nice thing about that, Cupron has created, I believe, 5 U.S. public health claims from the EPA. And these are very rigorous examinations where the technology has to meet both efficacy and safety to the environment, to aquatic, for example, and other animals and organisms around the world. Copper's been used in infrastructure for centuries, so copper piping, etc. So for centuries, water, fluids, etc. have been moving around in our infrastructure. And the evidence is that when you manage it the right way, there is no untoward impact to the environment. And we've got not only science on that side, but we also then have these several hundred years of using the technology or using copper in a form that's distributed throughout the environment.
So while developing this Clear line of your product, were there any specific global or regional regulations that you had to meet, and how challenging was that process? Talk us through it.
Well, we are meeting some, and we're going to continue to meet more. The process is not over. The products that are in the marketplace now, in many of those cases, we will have to then go with them and receive expansion of the rights that the regulators have given us because it's a new product application. We expect that fully.
Are you currently collaborating with any major brands or manufacturers to integrate your line into their products?
As mentioned, we are talking to multiple brands. You'll begin to get announcements in the coming weeks and months on that. Todd, I don't know whether we are free to mention any of those at this point. The journey of we'll continue to innovate with all of our partners. There's generally a pretty involved process of taking the innovation we've made and now making it coexist with the formulations they have, et cetera. So that will continue. But from a business strategy, if you asked where is Cupron's priority, it's more market-faced. It's more where Todd spends his day, and that is seeking out partners who are looking for an improvement, showing them the benefits of the technology, and then creating markets with those partners.
And going to market with a new technology, there are not, I'll say boldly, on Earth, there are just not new biocides. I've been doing this 30 years in the industry. There are not new biocidal chemistries that come to market because of the cost, because of the technical challenges, the regulatory challenges. For the most part, the industry for decades in antimicrobial chemistries has been tweaking, adjusting, reformulating, combining biocides together, finding new value to deliver. Cupron and the Clear technology in particular is a truly new delivery of a new biocide. We've got something truly new that works, we believe. And the world will prove us right or wrong, but we're very confident we indeed have a new high potency, high value, sustainable biocidal product for the world.
The annual spend on these kind of solutions is in the billions. So there's a lot of, as we say, there's a lot of wood to chop. Taking something that's new, industrialized, proven, and now helping the market adopt it in places where they already exist.
All right, guys, thank you very much. That is it from my side.
Thank you for your time today, and thanks for the opportunity to help.
We appreciate the opportunity. I guess again, just to restate, it's the fun.